yes, BIM does not necessarily mean it is only Revit, but at the same time, Revit still holds a strong hold. Do you think it is the right amount that I am giving them?
Correct.
And at that point of time, I was like, are you really outsourcing your work to India? He's like, yes. They said, okay, they gladly agreed because their son was coming back. I won't say Jugaad is right every single point of time, but it really works when it comes to India.
So I think there are a lot of curriculums जिसमें spoon fed AutoCAD सिखाते हैं, spoon fed SketchUp सिखाते हैं, even spoon fed Revit, as you said, BIM is a part of the curriculum now. तो BIM भी सिखाते हैं, but exactly what they are targeting is really not even, you're saying, related to what is there in on field.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the misconception then around it.
I mean, it is about anything, right? What we learn in architecture, what we are taught, and what we are doing in the field is completely different. But at the same time, what we have learned might be useful to what we only learn 10%. All the 90% that we have to apply,
on field.
We have to learn on field. So
like a mere internship also, like when we did internship right after getting out of college, the mere 3 months were enlightenment in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
How much ever we learned in 3 months,
exactly,
we could culminate that knowledge.
Yeah.
But I think that's true for most of the fields out there. Once you get into the market field, then only your work is appreciated. Well, not appreciated, I would say, for most of us. But at least you start appreciating yourself.
Yeah, I mean, appreciation is a subjective term.
Very subjective.
And definitely not in terms of money. But eventually you will get there. I will tell this to all young architects that you have been told by your seniors, faculty, everybody that there is no money in architecture. I am going to tell you that it is not the case. You just have to choose the right path.
Correct.
And again, what is the right path? You take a path and make sure that it is right.
Yeah, I mean, that's your motto.
I mean, one thing is there that, okay, my mom has a food product business. And there was a point of time where I was interested in continuing that particular business. But my practice grew so much that I stopped looking into it.
Correct.
But I realized this one thing, that architecture teaches you to survive. When I say this, in any field you can apply architecture. For example, my mom had one issue wherein there was like introducing a system or finding a solution. I think architects from first year of architecture are told you are here only to find a solution.
Perfect.
And a simple thing like a movement pattern in any building helps you create a movement pattern in any business. How are you going to navigate through that particular business? And that's why I feel that architects are much more like they should not just be placing themselves in the architectural field, but they should explore other opportunities as well. I have many friends who have tried UI UX, who have who are now doing set designing, who are art directors on many of the big Hollywood movies as well.
Correct.
And I feel that architecture should not be used purely for architectural sake. Yes, somebody who is interested in making buildings, who is interested in designing a building, should definitely get into it. But if you are a technical person, go into BIM. Learn all of this. If you like working in softwares, architecture does teach you all of that. Specialize in it. Okay, there are many things. I mean, architects can be useful in any field, because our main thing is right from first year of architecture, we are taught to research first. And that research helps us in knowing many things that many people don't know. We know everything of everything.
We are jack of all trades. That I think we're good at it.
And I don't think so we need to become a master of one. We can use this to our leverage, that we can be jack of all trades. Even a doctor to practice needs architect's help to design his space.
Correct.
because where his, like, we recently did one dental studio and we realized that yes, our knowledge helps us a lot, because just a swivel of a chair, he needs 3 things.
Correct.
And that come because of the design that we have done around it, around his chair. So we are underpaid, but definitely we can use this knowledge to do anything that is there out there. Yes, we cannot become doctors, but we can assist them.
Correct.
We cannot become lawyers, but we can create a room to make sure it is good.
Perfect.
So
I think that's very well, put. Because a lot of people after architecture, or even before, aspiring architects who want to take up architecture have these questions around it. That, what are the career scopes in it? And most of them are related to very monetary aspects. But what about this aspect where you, become a problem solver, where you become very independent, as you said, research oriented, as you said. But I think very well said. And but say, for example, now that you are looking for a candidate, what do you see in a candidate before hiring one?
Anything but portfolio.
Wow.
Okay.
That's we've been always stressing on our podcast that a portfolio is a must, a portfolio is a must. But you're saying, so I think why?
Go to any firm.
Correct.
Okay. Probably I'm not talking about all the firms. I'm talking about 80% of the firms.
Correct.
Okay. And in that 80, it is my firm as well. A candidate shows me her portfolio, and generally, and this has happened with the interview that I have also given in the past. Yes, there are a few projects that just to show that we are taking an interview, people dive into those projects that we have done in our curriculum. But honestly speaking, I told you, I worked in a firm here after I failed in my thesis.
Correct.
Okay. Did it really matter that I failed in my thesis? Not
No.
at all. Okay. Today, in fact, those same jurors who took my jury are looking for BIM architects. Okay. So, how confident are you? Okay. Because I need people who are going to give it back to people. I mean, so what has happened in being in this BIM industry, especially for the Indian clientele, I would say, they feel we are their draftsmen. But I'm hiring architects and we are also giving them solutions along with it.
Correct.
So we are not just mere draftsmen to them, and this treatment is also coming from fellow architects, that you are my draftsman. No. Okay, so I want people who are confident enough to say a no. Okay, I want people who are like, अरे यार ऐसा मैं कैसे करूँ? I don't want those people. I want people who are going to be direct to people, who are going to handle things smartly rather than just doing mundane jobs of आज मैंने इतने dimensions डाले. नहीं.
No.
I don't want those. I want you to figure out आज मैंने इतने dimensions डाले और मेरे को इतना टाइम लगा, तो कल मेरे को ये dimensions, same dimensions देने के लिए इतना ही टाइम कैसे हो सकता है?
How can I find a new solution?
New
How
solution.
can I find a new shortcut?
Exactly. And
to
I
my
want such
problems?
people. Yes, sometimes when I'm finding candidates, I might fail in my judgment of understanding that particular person. But I'm not looking at his portfolio. I mean, today, people concentrate so much on their portfolio and waste so much of their productive time in just making that portfolio that I would recommend them just go to a firm, apply to it. Firms like me, most of the firms do not even look at the inconsistencies in the portfolio, because they don't even look at the portfolio. They just like scroll past, flip it through. So as I said, anything but portfolio.
I mean, you're one of the most, you know, up tak jitne bhi log aaye, they all were like stressing that, a portfolio is something which is very important.
Yes.
And this is how you'll get probably a job, and this is how you, identifying yourself as a brand.
Yeah.
And here you are saying that, anything but a portfolio will be helpful. But I think that's your way of even, as you said, your judgment might be right, might be wrong. Yeah. But whatever is it, you're just ready to face.
Yeah, I mean, I have had employees who are
correct,
slow. I mean, theek hai, abhi ho sakta hai. But that does not mean then I would navigate my workflow along that.
Perfect.
And that is exactly what you do when you hire anybody who has a good portfolio also. Na? Like a good like I have noticed so many times that a person who has an extremely curated portfolio is the worst in technical knowledge. I have seen that. And that is not something that you want to have.
Correct.
And so, yeah.
It's very subjective also.
Yes,
It is subjective.
It is, but
and I think, see, like you said, the most well curated portfolio might be that that person is not very technical in that sense, but also
he's good.
So what is happening? Yeah, maybe he's good at something else also.
Yeah.
But what is happening is that same person is getting paid. Of course, because he's a junior at your firm. He's getting the same salary as someone who is, come with just maybe a flyer.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but they're getting the same salary.
Exactly.
Maybe the work output is different, but still they're getting the same salary.
Yeah.
So, what is this around salary also? See, because the reason why not many people are taking up architects, and honestly, because I'm in the education field, I know, आधे से ज़्यादा seats तक नहीं भर रहे. This is the problem now.
Yeah.
That not many people are taking up architecture, not many people are taking up design. So, is salary the issue, or is this whole misconception around your work, your portfolio the issue?
I mean, honestly speaking, I would say that yes, this misconception, but this misconception is a created misconception.
Correct.
I would say that there are so many channels who say they are an architecture page.
Correct.
Okay, but I see so much shit that they are doing right now. They are saying itna karte hai but peanuts milta hai, itna karte hai but ye hota hai. I would say that look at architecture not just through monetary perspectives, but look at it as if it is going to change everything around you.
Correct.
Okay, I used to be an extremely shy kid when I was in school. In fact, I hate the word school because I used to be bullied and everything. But when I came to architecture, it changed how I was. I became this person who takes charge. I became this person because in architecture we are thrown into juries. Okay, wherein the juror is...
I think it makes you industry ready.
Exactly. It makes you industry ready, but not with technical knowledge, but मैं भिड़ेगा वो terms पे industry ready.
Correct.
जो आएगा, I will do it. Not everybody.
I totally agree with that point that you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it does give you the strength to just go out of your comfort zone and work on something and take on challenges one day at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think this is one of my last questions. I'm leading on to the end. But say BIM is a practice for you.
Yeah.
And how do you see it's going to change? Like, how do you think the architects, as you said, your clients are mostly architects. How do you think it's going to change in the next 5 years or 7 years?
Next 5 to 10 years, I'm going to tell you my goal also. I never started a BIM practice to be in a BIM practice.
All right.
In India, the landscape is changing. The government has put some mandatory applications wherein major infrastructure projects have to be in BIM.
All right.
Okay. It may not be true for all the state governments, but there are a few like strict norms when it comes to using of BIMs.
Correct.
BIM as a software. So, as a landscape, many of the architects have to adopt to BIM. If not now, now they are outsourcing it, the next generation definitely in the coming years, 5 to 10 years down the line, is definitely going to put BIM as a part of their applications. I mean, now apply a BIM engineer required is going to, like, almost most of the high-end firms
have started.
Now have already started. They need a BIM draftsman. They need a BIM technician.
Nowadays, even they're hiring people who are artificial intelligently into AI. I mean, people are generally hiring people who are of AI now.
Exactly.
So BIM is something which is any which way is required.
It is required. I mean, it is something which is comprehensive. It is going to give you good output. It is going to definitely reduce down the timeline. It's just that education, rather than education, again coming back to the experience part of it, they need to put their minds free and do it according to what is happening outside. Once. I'm not asking you to, out of the 10 projects, put it on 9 projects. I'm asking you to do it only on one project. Apply it to the fullest,
So
wherein you feel your design is not
saying-
that important. Put it on that.
Put it on that.
Put it on that. It's okay. But you need to have BIM as a practice in your office starting now.
Correct.
We are already, I think, 5 years behind when it comes to this. But we are fast learners. I have seen that with most of the Bharatiyas, and they are going to, we are going to be and you have seen how much infrastructure development
Correct.
is happening all across India.
Correct.
Some people find it good, some people find it bad, but there are some people who are going to become...
I actually find it very
Yeah.
obvious. It is going to happen.
It is going to happen.
I mean, people are saying that, coastal road is coming up, this, that, but this is what I believe.
Yeah.
Chahiye coastal road, why not? We want roads which are intertwining into each other.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, it's required.
you give something to the public is going to respond in that
Correct.
way. And if there is something like look at it, our old terminal building in Mumbai as compared to the new T2 that has happened in
Correct.
Mumbai, you see the stark difference in it. Okay,
Perfect.
you give something good to them, people are going to respect it.
Yes.
Okay, and infrastructure is going to boom, and as I said, people are going to respect it automatically. When you put these
Yeah.
technologies as a part of your ethos, people are going to eventually respect it.
Correct.
Government
Good
has already
design
started
will
recognizing the fact that BIM is something that is booming.
Correct.
Okay, government has started recognizing it. Start putting it as a tool into your office.
Correct.
So it is the respect you are going to get into it eventually, but in the 5 years or 10 years down the line, most of the architecture companies
Will have
people who will be working only in Revit or only in SketchUp or BIM
Revit,
related
I mean,
software.
Revit people are working a lot,
Yeah.
but not necessarily they are taking full advantage
Yes,
that they are leading to the building information stage.
No, but they will eventually.
They are using it
Yeah.
for like mere sheets,
Yes,
mere
mere
templates,
but,
like you said.
But that is again an advantage of it.
That is an advantage of
Yeah.
it. Correct.
So you need to find out what's the best for it.
Correct.
And it is a very good thing. I mean, even the templates that you just mentioned is an advantage of it. People just don't know how to use it, and they will go there. I mean, it is a process, but
Like you said, 5 to 7 years max.
yes. And even for interior projects, you will now see BIM being applied.
All right.
We have already started. I mean, my company does interior projects on BIM.
All right.
So it is... we generate sheets out of that.
It's just a matter of time.
It is a matter of time.
All right.
Yeah.
Any last piece of advice in general, actually, that you would like to give the younger generation, the students, the aspiring designers out there?
Firstly, don't get bogged down by this chatter around architects get paid less.
All right.
We do get paid less, but it is just a chatter. Once you practice more of architecture, once you actually probably see some other field related to architecture, it might be UI, UX, it might be set designing, try to find that field as well.
All right.
Okay, you will be good at it because you are an architect.
Correct.
So don't get bogged down by this chatter. Secondly, just because technology is coming does not mean you lose that humane angle to architecture. What has happened is just by zooming in and zooming out or using AutoCAD in general, people and especially now that I'm teaching in a few colleges, I have noticed that students are not understanding the scale of anything. So one advice that I would give them is technology is definitely needed in college, but at the same time, your first design should be from your brain to your hand and to a pencil.
Correct.
It cannot be from your brain to your hand to a mouse. And that is something that I would advise every individual. Right now, what will set you apart is your drawing skills or with pen, because site पे हर बार iPad चलने वाला, iPad का बैटरी गया. How are you going to explain things to your craftsman? You need to draw it out on the site. You need to draw a detail out on the site. Are you well versed with that? So you never know what challenges are thrown. And most of the tomorrow, any project that you start, most of the starts are with an interior project. Let's be honest about it.
Yes.
For any architects. most of the carpenters, contractors, kadiyas do not even know what iPad is. Let's phone to hota hai unke paas, but if you start explaining them on an iPad first, they will be like, oh, okay. They will be, अरे क्या बढ़िया टेक्नोलॉजी है. उनके दिमाग में कुछ नहीं जा रहा है वो टाइम पे. Okay. For them to reach, it is more 15 years. For us to reach, is right now we have not reached there.
Correct.
So just because you have a technology does not mean you use it everywhere.
Everywhere.
You have to be good at everything. You have to be good at your hand sketches, and you need to be knowledgeable about it. And one thing that I've realized is when you draw it with your own hands, you remember those details much better than when you draw it on an iPad. This is what I've realized. And today, the reason why I can just throw out an architectural detail, अगर कोई भी प्रॉब्लम में है, अगर ये हम लोग कर सकते हैं, या फिर अरे इधर we can put an eye section instead of this or that, I can do that because there is a basic understanding that has gone through my brain, through my hand, through a pencil.
Correct.
Or a rotring pen or something like that. So I'm grateful that during my college, the first 3 years were purely on hand, and then only softwares were allowed only in the fourth and the fifth year. I'm grateful for that. And today it is helping me a lot. It is giving me an edge. Actually, I would tell you, this was an edge that I explored when I was in US. They were awestruck when I used to draw out details for the contractor out there, with on hand or on the wall out there. When we were going on the site, they were awestruck. So you need to know this, because you never know when it will come handy.
Correct.
It may not come handy, but it will definitely change the way you...
It will give you an edge.
So this is an advice that I would like to give to the younger generation, that just because there is technology, you need not necessarily use it everywhere.
And that coming from a person who is, an expert in BIM is I think very valuable, because you know the value of, hand-done sketches as well. And at the same time, you know how to change it into the technological aspect of it and work out your way. Thank you very much, Srujan, for being a part of this.
Thank you.
And
thank you for
there'll be a lot of questions actually after this.
No
and
problem.
I'll definitely reach out to you once I get those questions in line.
We should have a part 2 for the questions itself.
We could totally do that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. And it was nice having this chat around. And honestly speaking, I have not even touched the surface of BIM.
Correct.
But probably people will say that I don't even know BIM when I'm saying all of this. But BIM is a ocean, and we are just at the beach right now.
Correct.
We are not even diving in yet. So, and I also haven't dived completely into it, but eventually, yes. And right now I'm getting projects on that name. So
that's very modest of you. But very few people are actually doing BIM also. So out of the few people, one of your firms is doing. So I congratulate you on that.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.